So we're on lesson 26, part 2, and that is going to focus in on fraction reduction and how we go about reducing fractions. So what we learned in the previous part of this lesson is that fractions stay equivalent, stay the same amount, as long as whatever you do to the bottom number, you do the same exact thing to the top number. And what you'll find is that as you get further into math, you're always going to want to reduce your answers down to their lowest form, because that lowest form gives your brain the best visual idea of what amount is left. So in order to do that, we just use division to reduce a fraction. We divide. If there's a number that divides into both the denominator and the numerator evenly, then we divide that number in all the way until there's nothing left that goes into it. As long as we do the same thing to the top that we did to the bottom, then it will stay equivalent. So here's an example. This is an I do, so you do not need to copy this down. Let's say I have the fraction 4/6. Well, when I'm looking at this fraction, I'm noticing, hey, those are both even numbers, so 2 can divide evenly into both of those numbers. So I can go ahead and say, well, I'm going to divide them both by 2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And now when I look at this number, this fraction, there's nothing that can go into both 2 and 3 evenly other than 1. So that is now reduced down to its lowest form. Now you may be thinking, after we've done GCF and we've done LCM and you've used this tool a couple of times, you might be thinking, hey, I know a tool I can use that has me dividing evenly into the two numbers. And so you can use that same tool. The broken ladder can be used for this too if you wish, but most of the time you'll just see what number needs to divide. But here's how the broken ladder works. If you take the numbers 4/6 and you put 4/6 on the line of the ladder, and then you divide numbers that go into both of them. 2 goes into 4 twice, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. You are going to get the fraction 2/3. So you're basically doing the same thing here as you are here. You're dividing 2. So you can use the ladder to reduce fractions if you want to. Just make sure that the top number is the first one, the numerator is the first one, and the denominator, the bottom number, is the second one. So this is just another way to write the fractions with that tilted line there. And remember, a fraction is just basically a division problem anyway. Let's do a couple of we-dos for your notes. Okay, so you're going to copy this one down into your notes. Let's say we have the fraction 5/15, and we need to reduce that to its lowest form. And I'll do it both ways. You can do it both ways into your notes as well. We use the broken ladder, 5/15, or we'll just use the division over here. All right, so I have 5/15 and I need to reduce it to its lowest form. So I'm just going to ask myself, is there a number that can divide evenly into 5 and 15? And there is. 5 divides into both of them. So I would divide by 5, and whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top, or whatever you do to the top, you must do to the bottom. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Over here, I would just ask myself the same thing. Is there a number that goes into both 5 and 15? Sure there is. There's 5. 5 divides into 5 once. 5 divides into 15 3 times. So your answer is 1/3. And if you aren't sure how can that be correct, I'll show you. This is 15 pieces. Let's go 2. That's 6. Yep. I might have messed that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now I think I've got 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, one more, 15. Okay, there's 15. Pretend those are equal pieces. And we get to eat 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over here is a pizza cut into 3 even pieces, and I get to eat 1 of those. Those are the same amount. It's just they're written differently. So reduced fraction, you're always wanting to get your answers to their lowest form. After a while, it will really bug you when you see fraction not in lowest form. The more we practice, the easier it becomes. We do number 2 next. Okay, let's reduce 4/10. Well, when I look at 4/10, and I can put it on the ladder, a number that will divide evenly into both of them is 2, because they're both even. So I would go ahead and divide 2 into both the numerator and the denominator. 4 divides into 2 twice, and 2 divides into 4 twice, and 2 divides into 10 5 times. Check again, because it's possible something else can go in. In this case, there's nothing that can go into both 2 and 5. They're both prime, so 1 is the only match they have. So that would have been the answer. Over here, I would have just asked myself, is there a number that goes into both of these? Sure, 2 does. Twice there, 5 times there. There is my reduced fraction, 2/5. So you could choose one of either of these two tools to figure out reduce the reduction of your fraction. I have usually half of my kids like to just do this, and half of my kids like to do that. So let's try a you do. Okay, you tried this one. Let's have you reduce 6/12 to its lowest form. Go ahead and then push play when you're ready to check and see how you did. All right, so you could have taken a couple of approaches to this one. Some of you might have said, oh, those are both even, so I'm going to divide it by 2. And if you did that, you would have 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then you should have looked again and said, hey, wait a minute, 3 and 6, there's a number that goes into both of those too. 3 goes into both of those. Divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Some of you might have noticed right away, oh, look, 6 goes into both of those numbers. I'm going to divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So either way, you would have come up with the same answer. What had happened on the ladder is if you noticed 2, you got 2 into 6 3 times, 2 into 12 6 times, and 3 you would have noticed 3 into 3 once, 3 into 6 twice, and you would have come up with 1/2, just like these. By the way, the ladder just basically, when you use a fraction on there, the ladder just basically gives you equivalent fractions all the way through. All right, one more you do. Okay, go ahead and reduce 12/15 to its lowest form, and then push play when you've got an answer. Okay, so you've reduced 12/15 down to its lowest form, and so let's have a look at that and see what you got. I look at this one, and that's even, but that's odd, so 2 is not going to work. 3 does go into 12 evenly, and it also goes into 15 evenly, so I'm going to go ahead and divide by 3 to both the numerator and the denominator. You have to do it to both. If you do it to just one, you're going to mess everything up. So be fair, be fair, be fair. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. And then I just double check to see, is there a number that goes into both of these? And no, there's not. 5 is prime, 4 is even, but 5 is not, so I'm stuck. So 4/5 is lowest form, that fraction in its lowest form. All right, well, if it makes sense to you, you can end the video and come get the closure questions and show me that you understood it. If it's still a little hazy, feel free to rewind and listen to whatever part you need to, and if that still doesn't work, come see me. We'll practice a few more together.